We wanted to give you an afternoon update as to where we are with the storm. We're going to do this in a couple of different ways. I think the first thing that would be helpful for everybody is if we've got from the National Weather Service, John Quagliariello, that I would like to come up, please, and give us an update.
Thank you, Governor. The latest on Hurricane Matthew, it is currently a Category 3 hurricane with winds of 120 miles per hour. It's moving toward the northwest about 12 miles an hour across the southern Bahamas. Matthew is forecast to strengthen into a Category 4 hurricane as it passes just along the east coast of Florida Thursday night into Friday. And then some weakening should occur as it passes a little bit just off the Georgia coast Friday night. After that point, there's a little bit of uncertainty in what the storm might do. At this time, the latest forecast calls for it to pass just off the South Carolina coast on Saturday into Saturday night and then move offshore. How long it stays along the South Carolina coast before turning offshore is still a little uncertain. There are actually some models now that show the storm hugging the coast and others that still take it back out to sea. So we really want everyone to focus on the cone of uncertainty. Don't just focus on the center track of the storm, but realize that the storm track can shift, and any slight shift to the west or closer to the coast could bring pretty significant impacts to South Carolina still. Even if it does track offshore, as the current forecast indicates, we still expect the potential for significant impact to South Carolina as tropical storm or even hurricane-force conditions are possible along portions of the coast. In addition to the wind, storm surge could be a factor as well. We could see up to 5 to 8 foot of inundation, so that's water above the ground, as a storm passes. Of course, if it comes closer to the coast, those numbers could go up. And rainfall will also be a concern. We're expecting as much as 5 to 10 inches of rain with locally higher amounts, and that could result in flash flooding. So again, just want everyone to focus not on the center track of the storm, but on the range of possibilities and realize that we need to prepare for the storm. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. And so with that, I want to go into, we are looking at a evacuation in Horry and Georgetown counties probably at noon tomorrow. We will confirm that in the morning, but at noon tomorrow is what we're looking at for Horry and Georgetown County. And we'll let you know that at our morning press conference. Evacuations are continuing for Charleston and Beaufort County, and those seem to be going as normal. We have 32 shelters that are now open. 4 special needs facilities are now open. We are continuing to work with the Attorney General on price gouging. So far across the state, we have not seen any examples of price gouging. I think the highest we've seen is about $2.29. Of course, if anyone sees that, we ask that you contact DMD and let them know. But there's no evidence to that at this point. Fuel supply is good. We have waived the petroleum trucks so that they can get through, so that way none of the gas stations should have the shortages. So we expect that to be fine as well, and we're making sure that we make every effort to do that. All coastal parks have now been closed, so they're all clear, and that's one more thing out of the way. The hotels in South Carolina are pretty much full. There are probably a couple in Anderson, a couple in Greenville that might be open. Again, we tell you to go to Expedia.com or Airbnb. I know there's some openings in Charlotte and Asheville, and still get on waiting lists for Columbia if that's what you want to do. But the hotels are looking like they're pretty full all across the state at this point. We are not seeing any price gouging on the hotel front either, so that seems to be under control. Director Sherling has done a fantastic job with corrections and his inmates. They're pretty much pumping out 10,000 sandbags a day. So they will continue to do that so that we don't have any issues with the sandbags. Traffic is moving, and as of now versus before we started the reversal, traffic time is down 20%. I am very excited because the work of Director Smith with DPS, Secretary Hall with DOT, and the National Guard, they have come together in just an amazing way to do this reversal. This is something that we were doing after a long time, and what I can tell you is the travel time now from Charleston to Columbia is averaging an hour and 38 minutes. So it's pretty amazing how well it's moving. This is now coming into the Midlands. So if you live in the Midlands, do not get on the roads anytime soon. We need you to stay off because all of that congestion is right now coming through the area, and this is when we expect it to bottleneck a bit. So we'd ask everybody to stay home and stay off the roads if you do live in the Midlands, as well as the reversed lanes. If you are going to get on a reversed lane, know that you are coming all the way to Columbia. There is no way to get off, and so you need to fuel up before you jump on that lane. You're seeing it move a lot faster than the others, but you have to fuel up, and you do need to make sure that you realize that you're going to Columbia and will have no ability to turn around. So do make sure that you do that if you're going to take that reverse lane. I can't tell you how proud I think the state should be of Director Smith and Secretary Hall, along with the cooperation of law enforcement and the National Guard, because really doing a lane reversal of this size is something that is complex, but they made it look smooth and they made it look easy. So I want to bring up Director Smith to answer any questions, but also to talk about what has been done from the DPS standpoint, and then I'm going to ask Secretary Hall to speak from the DOT side.
Thank you, Governor. Good evening, everyone. We're having a large-scale evacuation. We wanted to maximize the use of all lanes, and we are using an operation that's called lane reversal. That means that with respect to I-26, all lanes, east and westbound, will proceed in the same manner, heading away from the coastal area. This gives us an opportunity to push as many vehicles as possible, as quickly as possible, out of harm's way. How do we implement lane reversals? 2 points I would touch on. Ingress, that's where we load the vehicles, and we load the vehicles in the potentially impacted area, Charleston, right at the I-526 interchange. And the egress, that's where the vehicles exit from the reverted lane. That position is here in Columbia, right at the I-77, I-26 interchange. We also have to flush the traffic. We need to clear the eastbound lane so we can run the reverted traffic there. So we flush the traffic. Simply put, once we give the order to flush the lanes, if you're behind the troopers' vehicles, you would be diverted off to US 321 or I-77 northbound. If you're in front of the troopers' vehicle, if you like to go to Charleston, you have that ride to continue in the eastbound lanes of I-26. As the trooper passes the exits, we'll secure those exits, and we will not allow vehicles coming on the entrance ramp to enter into eastbound I-26. We'll do this until we get down to the I-526 interchange. From there, that's where we proceed to bring the vehicles in the opposite direction. Before we do that, we work with our partners, SLED, Civil Line Patrol, a lot of our other partners, to make sure that we do a flyover, make sure that the lanes are clear. That was done. Once the lanes are clear, now the troopers are ready to proceed on the opposite side, and that's what's going on now. How do the vehicles get to the reverted side? Coming from the Mount Pleasant area, we'll use one lane and take that vehicle to the reverted side. We'll use ramps. We have a modified crossover designed by DOT to take those vehicles to the reverted side. Coming from the West Ashley area, we'll take one of those lanes. We'll use the ramp, a crossover made by DOT. We'll use that crossover to get those vehicles on the opposite side. Once those vehicles are loaded, it's smooth sailing to Columbia. I had the opportunity, myself and Secretary Hall, to fly over those interchanges along the routes. Everything's looking good, exactly how it was planned. Now, how do we bring the vehicles back to the regular side? Okay, they've traveled approximately 100 miles from Charleston to Columbia. Right here at the I-77, I-26 interchange, we have a crossover. Basically, we need an even exchange. 3 lanes coming from the reverted side. We'll merge those cars from the reverted side across the crossover into the normal flow of traffic on I-26 westbound. And what do we do with the traffic on I-26 westbound? We would force that traffic onto I-77 northbound. That's how we were able to do a smooth transition and even exchange from the reverted lane back to the regular lanes. Resources that we use, the National Guard has been instrumental in so many ways. Even if we have a wrecked or disabled vehicle, the National Guard will have their wreckers along the corridor to clear those lanes expeditiously. EMS and fire, they're strategically located throughout the route. Aircraft, just to make sure we have area coverage to see what's going on from high. Our SHEP vehicles, that's with the Department of Transportation. If there's any type of road service needed, our friends at DOT would take care of that. And last but not least, our troopers and state law enforcement officers on line patrol, making sure that things are flowing expeditiously. And that concludes my comments. And
Thank you. And one item that we do want to say, just in reference to that, is we have seen, haven't seen a lot, and we don't want to see any more, is people crossing over those barricades. Please don't do that. That is an extremely dangerous situation, not just for the law enforcement and guardsmen on the road, but it is also a dangerous situation for yourself. So we would ask everybody to please not cross the barricades and avoid that dangerous activity. And now I'll turn it over to Secretary Hall.
Thank you, Governor. What you're seeing today is a result of many years of planning activities and preparation, annual practice exercises to get us to this point, and so I can't thank the team enough for all their hard work and dedication over the years to get us to this point. We are very pleased with how the operations are currently. Travel speeds are approaching about 60 miles an hour, so an average interstate drive along the corridor. We do anticipate the reversal to be in place. We should plan for at least till Friday morning. And of course, we'll reevaluate it all along the way to see what changes we need to make. But we're intending to run this lane reversal daytime and nighttime between now and again, revisit it on Friday morning. So we recognize the disruption that this is going to cause to some folks wanting to travel around the area. And I would ask that you go to our webpage to help plan your routes. Also ask that feel free to call our 1-855-GO-SCDOT number, and we'll be more than happy to provide you up-to-date information and assistance in your route planning. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. And so with that, we have had a full day today, but it's not over, so we're going to continue to monitor the lane reversals. We're looking at all the TVs to make sure that we see all the lanes and see how they're moving. That will continue to happen. I do want to remind everybody, for any information, if you would go to www.scemd.org, that has your shelter information, that has your evacuation information, that has everything that you could possibly need. I would also tell you to go, just like Secretary Hall said, to scdot.org. That can actually show you real-time cameras on what it looks like, but they actually also have what your travel time should be. And they have that through their 511 webcam. So that's been very helpful to a lot of motorists. Want to also remind you of our PIP line. If you don't have the internet and you want to call, we have people ready to take those calls. That number is 1-866-246-0133. And so with that, I think main thing is we've got the lane reversals for I-26 continuing. We are looking pretty much at an evacuation at noon tomorrow for Georgetown and Horry County. We want to make sure that everybody stays off the roads in the Midlands because this whole evacuation crew is coming in for the next day to 2 days, and we will continue to watch the storm. I continue to ask the citizens of South Carolina to pray for each other and to continue to take care of your neighbors and make sure that we're watching out for everyone. Anyone that's trying to wait this out, we ask you to take caution and try and heed what everybody else is doing. We have been very, very appreciative of the way South Carolinians have responded to this evacuation because we saw them start early. They've been very patient. Everything seems to be going smoothly, but we will continue to watch this until the evacuation is done. So with that, I will open it up for any questions that you may have.
Governor, you guys just said that you're going to reassess on Friday in terms of lane reversals. That being said, is there going to be will you be closing the interstates at any point later on Friday once the storm kicks up more down around Charleston? I mean, is that a possibility that people should take into consideration when debating whether to leave?
well, with respect to the lane reversal, we will make sure that we secure from that operation and remove the equipment as well, because we would certainly need it for other events well before the arrival of the tropical storm force winds. So by the time those winds arrive, we'll make sure that we have secured from that event, and the lanes will be back in their normal pattern.
Is there a possibility that the interstates might close due to the hurricane coming ashore?
Again, the only type of diversion that we'll do is what we're doing now, the lane reversal, and we'll run that until it's no longer safe to do that, and from there we'll have to, again, retrieve the equipment and go back to the normal pattern of traffic.
And what we're doing is we're watching this very closely. I mean, like I said, we're watching it every 3 hours, and so as we see these things happen, we're making decisions based on that. So it's really hard to plan out 48 hours, 72 hours out from now. As while we're planning re-entry process, we are not sure about exactly what else is going to happen or where the storm's going to go. So we'll make those decisions along the way.
Governor, if I may
Yes, sir,
add to
Jenna.
that. Local law enforcement and local communities will make a decision to close the affected areas. So when the storm does come ashore, there may be certain areas that are closed to public access until the storm passes.
Thank you, General. Any other questions?
As far as the traffic concerns, you mentioned a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of traffic in the Midlands, but also, I guess, heading towards the upstate as well, and not only for people in the Midlands, in the upstate. This is probably going to be a big traffic backlog for them for the next few days, too, right?
Well, I mean, right now the lane reversal is working beautifully, and so what we're watching really is the Midlands at this point because they're all starting to come through there. So we've seen it be completely smooth from Charleston into the Midlands, and now we'll watch the Midlands over the next hour to see how congested it gets. But as of now, I think we're seeing everything's going fine going into the upstate. We're not seeing any problems at this time.
Governor, do you think Saturday's game is having a real impact on hotels in the Midlands, and have you been in touch with USC?
So I think a couple of things with the game on Saturday. First of all, I think people already had rooms booked to go to the game, so what we're seeing are two things. They're either deciding to stay because they're already here, or they're holding it to see what's going to happen to the game. I will tell you what we have informed USC is we will not be able to give any state support for that game. I can't take troopers off the road to go put them at a football game. And so from that standpoint, if they do that, they would be working with Richland County Sheriff's Office to get that done. And so from our standpoint, we're just focused on the storm. We're not necessarily focused on the game. They did call and ask, and we just said not to expect any state support into helping with that game. But I do think that the hotels are being held, and that's why I said get on a waiting list if you need to, because it wouldn't surprise me if some of those drop off if you need to do so.
Governor Haley, do you have any estimate for how many people have evacuated from the coast at this point?
Do we have those updated numbers?
Probably.
Please, no, please.
We're looking at right now probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 250,000 plus evacuated from Charleston all the way back to Beaufort. That's what we're looking at right now.
What will it be tomorrow when Horry and Georgetown?
That'll be about 200,000.
I think when all is said and done, we're looking at about 500,000 evacuated.
Are all of those 32 shelters in the Midlands?
No, so we have shelters up in Greenville. We've got them all over the state, and so you definitely want to check the website. And is that?
That's great.
Yes. So what Director Alford's doing is they have a number of facilities available, and so as people start to show up, they're staffed and they're ready to go. So certainly look up what shelter you should go to, and then we'll fill those up. I think we have 2 areas just in Greenville that will hold 8,500 people. So we've got quite a bit of shelters planned.
What's the capacity that we can hold here in the Midlands?
Do you know?
I don't have it figured out.
Yeah, we don't have that number right now. We can get that for you.
Governor Haley, do you have an update on how many people showed up to ride the buses from Charleston to Greenville, and whether they have actually taken buses from Charleston to Greenville yet?
So the last contact information I had was that there was no one that were using the buses at that time. They had a county call. Did you get an update?
Same as you.
Yeah, so what we have right now is because there's nobody, it could either be they're waiting, it could be that there aren't as many as we thought would be on there, so we are going to be reevaluating overnight and into tomorrow morning how many of those buses we send back to Greenville and how many of those drivers we send back to Greenville and how many we think we stay, depending on what percentage it is. The way they had analyzed the buses was based on 5% of the evacuation, and so clearly it's less than that, and so we're trying to readjust those numbers as we need to.
Do we know how soon after the storm people will be allowed maybe back into the areas such as Charleston, Beaufort County?
I think it depends on the damage. You know, what we have to look at is we've got a lot of low-lying areas and those coastal areas that those storm surges can do a lot of damage as they come in. We are looking at how we will handle recovery. first and foremost. Then we'll be looking at how we manage reentry, focusing on getting businesses back up and running, getting people back there, but there will be a systematic way. The same systematic way we've used to evacuate people out, we will have a system to get people back in.
Governor, what would you say to people watching the track and saying, maybe we don't need to evacuate, maybe we are going to be okay?
Well, I'll tell you, this morning it looked like it was going to the east, and then this afternoon we looked at it and it looked like it was coming back to the west. So now it's looking like it's going to hug South Carolina coast. So what I can tell you is we've been through a roller coaster of emotions today watching that, and I think we're going to continue to. I think we have to know that, the reason why we've done probable evacuation times is because we're watching that. The storm had slowed down. Now there's a thought that it might speed back up, and so we're being very conscious of that. But keep in mind, this has done a zigzag the entire time, and so as long as it's doing that, what our precautions have to be is that cone. And all of South Carolina's coast is in that cone right now, and so that's what we're basing our decisions on.
Governor, do you think there's any chance at all, if the storm tracks seaward and best case scenario, is there any chance at all that schools might go back in session on Friday?
We are taking it day by day. And so what the order said was until Friday, but we can change that order. So, like I said, every decision we're making is fluid, and we're doing it in the best interest of the citizens in every county. We are working very closely with the sheriffs. We're working very closely with the counties, their emergency management directors, to really get the feel for on the ground so that we're not making this decision up here. We're actually talking to the communities that are dealing with this.
Governor Haley, have you spoken with President Obama today? And if so, what have you spoken to him about? And what can we get an update on the federal assets in and around South Carolina?
So I speak with Valerie Jarrett today, and then she also just wanted to make sure if we had everything we needed in terms of federal assets as well as FEMA. FEMA has started to get their staff in today. I think the only federal assets that we've had requested so far are water rescue, but that's already in play. And so as additional requests come through, we expect that to happen. But they offered all the assistance that we need and suggested that we call if anything comes up that we don't have. Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the press conference in the morning.